Hey guys and girls, how's it going? Hope you guys had a great week. So, of course, it's 2022. Happy New Year to you all. And we are back today with another end of year review discussion. This one obviously is going to be on our biggest disappointments of 2021. So, some of the games we play, some of our experiences, and what were our biggest disappointments. Of course, there's no honorable mentions in this. Let's just get stuck right in here. Let's pull off this band-aid and get it done as quickly as possible. And we are going to start with Edge. Edge, do you want to kick us off? What was your biggest disappointment of this year?
Yes. So, by the way, guys, for the previous video, if you don't see me, it's because I'm very shy and I'm full of sick cold at the moment. No one sees to see a sick Edge. Yes, so I don't normally complain about many games very often, do I, Dante?
Oh no!
Never.
But considering at the moment, do you know what? Actually, disappointments this year, I've only really had one, which is probably a good thing this year, in fairness, compared to previous.
Oh, yeah.
So, saying it at the moment over the proviso, Back for Blood for me was probably my disappointment for 2021. It's not a terrible game, but, and here's the kind of the but word, it doesn't feel like it's kind of grown into the current 2021 period. It feels like it's a game from 2010. If that makes sense, or a bit older than that. Because you can see the elements from Left 4 Dead, the spiritual successor to what it was.
Yeah.
But Left 4 Dead did things a bit better, in my opinion, compared to what this did. So for those who don't may know what Back 4 Blood is, or who have never played Left 4 Dead, it's up to a 4-player co-op survival game where you and 3 other friends are traveling from a safe room to a safe room, avoiding being killed by infected zombies or alien creatures. In this case, wherever the risen are, or whatever it is.
They're zombies.
And you get special infected, which can do things to try and grab you, and it can get very, very stressful when you run out of ammo, you're needing health. But it's a very good, fun co-op play. And the original game had these little quirks, when you were kind of traveling, you'd hear these little kind of audio cues where you knew, oh crap, there's a witch here, or oh crap, there's a boomer. What do we do? And you're looking around for it. In this game, it feels like the key bits are there, but not done as well. So if I'm running around with my friends and then suddenly a version of the witch shows up, I don't hear any cues, and then just randomly pops up and oh great, I'm dead.
Yeah, it's just there.
Yeah, and they threw too many in at once.
Dodging it, or there's no skill to even if you're all being cautious, even if you're all being a squad and you're keeping your 6 or looking at where things could be hidden, there's no word or warning. So it's how do you get better at it? How do you get better at the game?
Yeah, and be tactical.
Yeah, a lot of it felt unfair, didn't it, in a way?
Yeah, I think what Dante's just picked up on about it again, they throw too much at you. Very much it was an issue in the demo, which I think a lot of people fed back on, and then they fixed in the demo, in the day 2 patch for the demo. The main game, however, seemed to fall back on the original point, in which the Left 4 Dead as a comparison never gave you, unless it was a very specific challenge, here's 7 witches, they're all sat down, get past them all, but nothing else would be there. However, Back 4 Blood is all too prepared to throw at you, 5 stingers, 2 of the whatever the charges are, 3 of whatever the boomers are, and the hunters, and a witch, and all at once. And it doesn't let up, and it gets to the point where it's just not fun.
Yeah, you're just dying a lot. I think we actually we gave up on it, didn't we?
It's not balanced.
We didn't complete it. We played 60-70% of it, I would say. And then it got to the point where we're like, you know what, this is no longer fun. It just felt like it was just constantly bashing your head against a brick wall.
It was more kind of boring, because we could have probably completed it, but when a game is more work with your friends than fun, especially because obviously with streaming, when you're doing recording and stuff, you want to have a good time. And when we're all as friends playing a game that we're not enjoying, that there's a flaw there, and like I mean, on the plus side, it was on Game Pass for like to download, and it was good to have a go on it. I wouldn't have paid full price for it.
Yeah.
And I think again, it was trying a couple of things like with the customization of your deck. They're having more guns was great, but like there was I think dual wielding at one point with one of the guns in Left 4 Dead. You had more kind of melee weapons as well before. I think it feels like there's going to be like a Game of the Year edition or something that's going to probably come out with all the things they wanted to put in. If I had any sort of feedback that I think would have made it better is the level environments. Make it more
more varied.
I know I've not played this, so it's a bit of an unfair shout out, but like The Last of Us, like if you're going to have 4-player co-op, make it more immersive, make it more kind of hide, have stealth options, or make it so you actually have to not use a gun. Sometimes you might not want to shoot because you're going to alert, like there was with the birds. Don't alert the birds. That mechanic of you don't want to make any noise to let the hot zombies come around. Great. Then have that stealth element where you can physically maybe just dodge stuff. It just feels like it's a game that should have evolved or should have added more to it mechanically over the last decade, and it just seems like they've made a direct maybe they've made it playing it too safe. But it feels like it's just not taking enough risks, or maybe not.
Yeah, I felt like they did the bare minimum of what they needed to do and just got that game out there. And the thing was with the weapons were really fun to use, and the ability to customize and add attachments on. But then you'd have a weapon, and a better weapon you'd come along. You couldn't take that attachment off of that gun and put it onto another weapon, and that started to really irritate me. So I started to go, well, do I want to get that other gun because I prefer my attachments on this one? So I found that I just wasn't customizing my guns as much as I could have been doing to and then like if you die, like I think you get one attempt, don't you, reattempt or whatever, respawn attempt, and then it kicks you out and you've got to go right back in again to start that chapter again, but you start with basic weapons again. So you never feel like you're getting stronger, in my opinion. You never feel like you're picking up better gear to be able to tackle the increased difficulty or increased zombies that they're throwing at you. I just feel like the balancing just was awful.
Does anyone even remember half the characters' names, or even like what the point of the bloody story is?
The granny, they're not memorable.
I don't know if that was because there was more than 4. Like we were always stuck with 4 in Left 4 Dead, and so you got to know them better. And they came up with better scripts for them, but I think in this one they got more diversity, which is kind of a good thing.
Yeah, or there was a lot of story being told as you're progressing, like a voiceover story. So it's like there's too much going on. Like I cannot listen to what you're telling me because I am just trying not to die. Of these million zombies that you're throwing at me. So you just miss out a lot of that. And then it started off with like a lengthy cutscene that was like, this is awesome. That cutscene is awesome. And then the cutscenes just became smaller and smaller and smaller. And sometimes there were non-existent cutscenes in between chapters. It's like, oh, we needed a cutscene of them getting in a car and driving off. What was the point of that? So, it was one of my biggest disappointments this year as well. So, I'm not surprised it's on your biggest disappointment edge, to be fair. Dante, your biggest disappointments?
Mine kind of covers a bit of everything because it's just the drama and disappointment of overall stuff from online games to the drama of like say Activision and this and that going off, but it's just all getting too samey. There's companies making the same mistakes, the same crud, and you get games like Outriders and the Avengers game and all that.
Or live services.
What was that?
Or
live service games.
Yeah, and it's just getting really annoying because it feels like they're having to push out really quick a half-baked game that they haven't even fully completed yet. You've then got server issues, and you shouldn't, upon buying a game, you shouldn't have to be sat there going, well, can I play it yet?
Yeah, that's fair with
Especially
Outriders.
games like Avengers, which have microtransactions, which shouldn't have
Marvel Avengers, yeah.
triple A games, which you have to pay for, shouldn't have microtransactions. End of discussion.
Yeah, and then that's it. Putting
Although
more and more
Avengers came out in
stuff
2019, but yeah, I think Outriders is a good example of those server issues. Like you and I were trying to play that cooperatively together, and
Yeah.
like to be able to try and match up, like to just for one of us to get in, and then waiting for the other person to then try and get into the game and get into the service, and then the issues where you would be playing it and it would kick one of you out.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, can I get him in? Do I save my progress? Have I lost a bunch of?
Yeah. Yeah, I
stuff
mean,
now?
when we were in playing it, like the gameplay, the gunplay was fun. Like the abilities were fun. Like when we were actually, doing the time bubble and everything, that was cool. Although, again, I do think the balancing was wrong on that initially, in that the bullet sponginess of some of the enemies.
Once the stuff gets bullet spongy, and that's the thing. It's so the same. It's like you start like comparing it to Anthem and other games, and it's like, we've
The Division.
done all this.
Yeah.
And mistakes were made. Why are these companies not learning from them?
Yeah.
And it's just cash grabbing again.
Yeah,
And
I think it frustrated me as well because I started off just playing that single player, and I was live streaming, I think, as well. I just want to play it single player. Why do I have to connect to a server to play this game single player?
Winds me up.
Like that pissed me off with Anthem. It pissed me off with Outriders. Like I was just so I can understand like if you try playing it multiplayer and it's you've got to connect to the server because it's a multiplayer game. But
I think the first big one to make that mistake was bloody SimCity when they went, hey, SimCity, to play it single player must be played online. It was like, why? It doesn't have no impact on it.
Yeah.
And as to Dante's point, it seems like nobody has learned that lesson, despite the fact that very quickly got redacted with SimCity.
Yeah.
And nobody's learned that lesson. Still, they're all like, we've always got to be connected. No, we don't.
Yeah,
Go away.
It's daft because then you've got a brick of the game once the servers are down, or like in the end you'll never be able to play it in the future, or just if they're having a bad server day, it's like, oh, you're done. The internet connection gets a little blip, you just lost a bunch of progress, and it's just so annoying.
I remember like live streaming it, and the chat would go, right, try this and try that, and I've read this here. If you do this and you do that, I was like, I shouldn't have to like do all these tricks like to try and.
Have you done the blood sacrifice yet? Have you tried turning it on and off again?
Oh my god, yeah.
And then loot boxes and microtransactions and all that stuff. Just it's getting more and more into generations of younger and younger kids finding that acceptable and normal.
Yeah, are you talking
really
about
isn't.
Pokemon Unite and stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
That's a whole nother.
That's what Fish is going to talk about, obviously. Yeah.
That could be a good lead in actually. Because...
So that's a good lead into my point of discussion, which is just the Pokemon franchise as a whole. Everything that they've churned out this year isn't necessarily a bad game. It does feel like it's not the quality that they should be for what is effectively one of, if not the biggest earning single franchises in the world. Pokemon Snap as a starter, the game itself, visually, is stunning, gorgeous. The characterizations of all the Pokemon that are in it are beautiful. Yet they've introduced a mechanic which just feels like a complete grind to go from one section to the next to the next. You can't move into the next section of the map until you've played the first map 4 or 5 times. And then when you've done that, you've got to go back to the first map to play it in a night mode before you can do something else. And it's just completely unnecessary. If you want to mix it up, fine, have different Pokemon appear on random playthroughs to encourage you to replay the level. But don't lock later levels behind having to play a previous level multiple times. Play it once, then open up the next one, and then just say, hey, if you replay old levels, you might get different Pokemon appear. It's more than is needed, and it wouldn't bother me. But physically locking it all behind having to earn experience to get into a later part of the map is just crap. Pokemon Unite great as an intro to MOBAs for people. For anyone who's never played a MOBA, it's a really good entry point. There's plenty of characters to suit different people's play styles. The mechanics of it are simple enough that you can understand. The maps aren't too in your face, so it's easy to get the game techniques and gameplay required for a multiplayer game where everyone has a lane to hold, people have roles, and different things on the map can impact your individual stats, like taking out the Ludiculio gets you a bonus, taking out the Taurus gets you a bonus. And as a whole, it's wonderful to see something that a MOBA franchise, which, like League of Legends, is very inaccessible to newcomers. Pokemon Unite is not. Most people can pick that up if you've never played a MOBA before and play it, and that is a fantastic thing. Where it all falls apart is the leveling again of, yes, it's a free-to-play game, so I am understanding that microtransactions have to be in there. Usually I don't have a problem with microtransactions as long as they're well thought out. Paying for a monthly battle pass, I get that, that's fine. I've always said if you want to pay for something on a free-to-play game, then if it's just cosmetic, that's fine, because you're not having to pay to win. A cosmetic, you choose to pay that, that's your choice entirely. Where it's all fallen apart is the levelings of your in-game currencies. Like, you can earn things called hollowware tickets. So if you don't want to pay for your expensive skins, then you can at least still earn them, by grinding a lot and earning these tickets and giving you the chance to get those skins. The problem is that when people complained about it being pay to win, they really did remove the pay to win element. But to balance that out, to earn their money, they've made skins that are like 30 to 40 quid for a single skin. The skins that you could previously have bought using hollowware tickets are now no longer in the store. So I've got a mountain of hollowware tickets, which I've got nothing to spend on because there's no interesting skins available. So there's, again, just no balancing in those transactions whatsoever. So it's as we've said, feeding into this belief that, it's acceptable practices to be charging that much for something that is just a skin. I appreciate the game itself is free, but it's not balanced at all. And
when I heard it was 10 cent, like,
it raises serious ethical questions.
Yeah.
And the last one in the Pokemon game franchise is simply Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Again, it's a remake of Diamond and Pearl. You know what you're letting yourselves in for. The game as a whole is a nice introduction for people who never played the original Diamond and Pearl. It's one of the solid games in the Pokemon franchise and has some good Pokemon in it. They've made some nice little additions to things like the Underground, where you can find more things there. Where it
as well.
All falls apart is it's just lacking that polish. Now, this maybe is a part of Game Freak actually outsourcing the game this time, but the two games are buggy as hell. Capture mechanics are all out of whack. Case in point, if I've got a Lickitung on 1 HP that is paralysed, I should not have to throw 70 plus Pokeballs to try and catch the thing.
Did you say 70?
70. 70 Pokeballs and a Lickitung that is on 1 HP and paralysed. Those capture odds are out, regardless of what level it is. Those capture levels are out.
Wow.
The berry mechanics for growing are broken as hell. I can water 4 berries that are all the same, all next to each other at the exact same points as the game goes across, and 1 berry plant will give me 2 while 1 will give me 7 berries. So it's like, yeah, it's not a huge part of the game, but it is a part of the game that is not consistent. And yeah, it's just lacking that whole polish. And the final kind of insult to injury is that there's core mechanics of the game, like the Global Trade Center, still is not available like 2 months down the line from launch. This is something which was available, alright, in the original game, locked behind earning your first gym badge, I think. But in this, I've literally completed the game. I've no real need to use global trade anymore, and certainly when Pokemon Home interaction comes out, which it may do down the line, I don't know. It's not there, so every time I try to use the Global Trade Center, an NPC rushes out and says, "Oh, it's not available yet." Looking online, apparently it's going to be in the 1.2 patch, but when that will be, who can say? And it's just, again, this feels like you've released an unfinished game.
Yeah.
Which is, again, another practice that's becoming very common in the gaming industry, to just go, "Oh, we'll patch it in later," and just release half-baked crap just because, hey, we need to get it out. It's like, take some time and effort. So it's not that they are completely bad games without merit. For me, just the Pokemon franchise as a whole has become disappointing this year. Yeah. Everything they've learned everything they've released is not to their usual standards. And I can only hope that when we get Arceus in a couple of weeks' time, as this is again a mainline Game Freak game, we'll see some backpedaling to bring that quality back in line, and we can start 2022 with the Pokemon franchise as at a much better level.
Hope so.
That would be good. I've played a lot of games this year, obviously, for the channel. I think I was like making a list up of it, and I've played like 12, 13, I've lost count. But I haven't played that many bad games this year, which has been nice, like last year, which has been quite good. But probably one of the biggest disappointments I had, other than Back for Blood, which I 100% agree with, was really heartbreakingly disappointing, because I was really looking forward to like a really good cooperative game to play with you guys. But the other big disappointment for me this year was Biomutant, which I played on PC. It was a game I was really, really looking forward to. Obviously, I'd heard really good things. Well, the trailers made it look really interesting, really cool, really quirky, and it just didn't live up to it. It's another case of a game that's been over marketed to high hell, so that people's expectations have just become higher than too high, similar to what happened with like No Man's Sky, with that kind of over marketed kind of thing. And it just didn't live up to expectations. Like the story, it's narrated by like one voice, like a narrator, and he's fine, but you get a little bit bored of it. The world is interesting enough, but they don't really go anywhere with it. And the gameplay it's like it was supposed to be a cross between like Devil May Cry, in terms of the gunplay, and also like Melee kind of thing. And it just feels clunky, and it doesn't feel fluid or natural, and I got bored with it. Like I didn't beat it, I got bored with it, and I'm like, no, I'm not wasting my time just pushing through this game because I want to beat it. And it was disappointing, which is a shame, and it definitely wasn't worth the price that it was marketed at. If it was like £20 or £15, maybe it would be worth that kind of asking price. But I feel like it was just overpriced and over marketed for what it was. So yeah, that was probably it. Wasn't hugely massively disappointing, but it was a bit of a disappointment for me.
I think we just go back to the over marketing point of let's just stop pre-ordering games just for a year.
Yeah.
Just there's too many companies in the gaming industry now. You don't. Well, again, if you don't pre-order it, and you can't get hold of it on day one, who really cares these days? Because you can either get it digitally, or you don't have to get the physical version.
With the online games, it'll take another week anyway for them to get the servers right.
That's
To get the
it.
bugs
It's
out.
true. Yeah, it's fair.
In a day 2 patch.
Yeah, there's just no need to really pre-order things anymore.
Sometimes over marketing just completely switches me off a game. Like Deathloop, for example, I had no interest in that game because it was just marketed to high buggery, and I just got fed up of all the trailers that we got for it, so I didn't buy it. But then the reviews came out and everyone said it's a really good game. That's more important for me in terms of what people are saying about it than all this marketing and trailer and everything that you're showing. So yeah, it's a big problem. But yeah, I think pre-ordering, I don't pre-order now. But the frustrating thing is I have to cover stuff for the channel, so it's kind of like I can't be picky and choosy in terms of what I play. I have to cover stuff. So
like, there's a lot to look forward to, though. I mean, obviously you've got. I mean, obviously the fingers crossed that we're not going to have Arceus as disappointing for 2022. I'm hoping that Stranger of Paradise that's coming out in March won't be disappointing for 2022. I played the demo of 1 and 2 versions of it, and I think that's going to be like one of my top picks for just random BS. Like, I think it's going to be fun just being like an emo guy running around Final Fantasy 1, just like stabbing stuff. So there's,
I might hold off on that. I'm going to wait for you to let me know what it's like, and then if it is any good, because you can play it cooperatively, can't you?
Up to 4-player co-op,
for up to 4 players. So I'm going to hold off and see what you say about it.
4-player, yeah,
and then if you say it's good, then I might buy it and pick it up and play it with you.
Well, I will be streaming it, definitely.
Oh, well, I'll definitely tune in for that then, if you're going to be streaming it, just to see. It hasn't done enough to kind of go, yeah, I want to play this kind of thing. I'm very much looking forward to Horizon Forbidden West. Stray looks really interesting, which is that indie one where you play as a cat.
Yes.
I hope that's not going to be like a Biomutant. I hope it's more going to be like a really good game.
I'm looking forward to that one, but I'm very pleased it's not an exclusive to PlayStation 5, which means I can play it.
Yeah, it's on PC, I think, as well, from what I hear. But I've played a lot of really good indie games this year, like really good indie games. So I'm going to be doing like a top 10 games of 2021 myself. And then I'm also going to be doing a top indie games as well that I've played this year, because I've played a lot of really good smaller games that I want to make sure they get some like recognition and showcased on the channel. So that's it then. Anything anybody wants to add, or are we good?
Let's hope this next year's better.
No. Yes.
Good year to kind of complain about what we didn't like. It's always good to kind of get off our chests to be fresh for the new year.
Yeah, and kind of reflect on it. So hopefully 2022 will be a good year. But those are our biggest disappointments of 2021. Let us know in the comment section below if there are any games that you played last year that were huge disappointments for you, and you'd like to share those. Please let us know in the comment section below so we can tell everybody to avoid them so they can spend their time, money wisely. But yeah, we'll be back again with more content in the new year, so please look forward to we are in the new year. We'll be back with more content in the weeks ahead, so obviously have a great week. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, I've lost the plot. But please have a what are those? Please have a great week, everybody. Take care, and as always, happy gaming. Bye, guys.
Jenny!
Bye.
I lost the plot.